Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Vetting America episode 30. I'm live at the Attic Cafe in downtown Tampa. I'm your host, Adam T. Cummings, and today's guest is Paula Stano, whose son is currently serving in the United States Marine Corps. She now runs the Stano Foundation, which was created to provide troops overseas with better care packages that help them stay combat ready with a little love from home. This morning, we'll be discussing the importance of supporting our troops, effects of military life on the family, finding a calling, and state of the vet nonprofit space. I'm honored to have you all here with me. Thank you so much, Paula, for joining us.
Thank you so very
and
much
let's jump
for
right
having
into
me.
it.
Sure, let's do it.
What's your story?
So the story is a little long. However, my son, so I am a single parent, and he would come home from high school with some flyers from, Marine Corps recruiting, and I would throw them away until he finally said, hey, this is really something that I want to do. So fast forward a little bit, he went into the Marine Corps. I'm sure you know the only way to communicate with them is through letters. So through the letters, we found out not everybody is supported, not everybody gets letters, which to them, when they get their name called out, I know you know this, it's like Christmas. That's exactly what he said in the letters to me.
And it's also when you don't get your name called out, it is just, nobody loves me.
So that truly broke my heart. So he said, is there a way that you guys can write to these people? So we did. We said, yeah, whatever it is that we need to do. And then I'm a very nosy parent, so I was on Facebook, and I found out about the SAMs, which are the Standalone Marines. And so with them, they either don't have family, their family does not support that they're in the military, or they have financial hardships, so they can't attend graduation. So think about this. You're there on the proudest day of your life, and you have nobody there to kind of hug or give you compassion. So what we did was we wanted to help them, and I took up a donation drive in Florida, and we had so much stuff that I had to borrow my friend's SUV because I only had a little Saturn at the time. And so we drove it there, we helped disperse it, and it was just so overpowering and so, it was so nice to give back and just to see that they were so appreciative for just the little things, because what happens is they don't get to go home to their family. They're put on a bus, they're shipped to their next duty station, and that's where they wait until everybody else joins them. So then what we did was I went crazy and I adopted a whole platoon for Christmas. And
that
again,
must have been a rowdy Christmas. That must have been a rowdy Christmas.
It was fabulous. Yeah. It truly was. And so I am very grateful because I'm very blessed with a lot of people who want to help. And so it went out of control. Like, so out of control, we had enough to send them each 2 packages. And then we had enough to actually help some of the VAs here, some of the local military organizations, and then even some of the homeless organizations. And what happened was we met an organization who was actually doing a pack party, and we said, hey, well, we have all this stuff. Let us help you.
Okay.
So we got to the pack party, and this is kind of where Stano is going to be formed, because I walked in, and there were 8 tables, 4 on each side, hygiene items on one side, and books, and like candy, food, non-perishable items on the other.
So much candy in those care packages. And we're all there trying to get shredded. So it doesn't make any sense. We're all there working out because all you had to do was work out all day.
Yes,
so it's either working or working out, right? And we're trying to get shredded and jacked, and all we get is junk food. And guess what we do? We eat all of it, So
we did ask, and they also said sometimes you guys give it to the kids.
Yeah.
So we don't really give a lot of candy, but I'll get into that. So what happened is we went in there, we tried to help. At no point in time could you cross the room and put hygiene items with food items. And I said, well, who wants to get just a package of hygiene items? Not to mention they filled the box to fill the box.
Of course.
And then they just stuck a label on it. So I'm like, how do you know it's going to a female? How do you know it's going to a male? How do you know what they want? And they couldn't answer me. And so I sat outside and I cried a little bit because I'm like, I just can't see them getting something they're not going to use. So that's how Stano was born, and it was, let's do something different.
Okay.
So we reach out to them. We have great relationships with these people who say, I need help. I need black crew socks. I need something to help me pass the time. We ask them, what are the 5 things you miss from home the most? And we will try and incorporate them in the care package for you.
That's awesome.
So it's not just candy. We get laundry detergent, double-ply toilet paper, black crew socks, earbuds.
Double-ply.
Yeah.
You're tree bark. It's tree bark. It's not double-ply. It's government-issued toilet paper. You can only imagine what that is.
So that's kind of how it started, and we are 3 years in, and we are growing exponentially, and I'm loving it.
I love it. So what's the mission of Stano Foundation, and what does your vision look like?
So our mission is, we were founded to support the armed forces and veterans through project-based initiatives focused on enhancing their lives by providing them with a piece of home.
Okay.
So our vision is to help as many as we can until they all come home. So I think people have that preconceived notion that even though we're not in a war, that they don't need things, and that the military, when the government takes care of them, when that's not the truth. And if people don't know that and they don't have skin in the game, it's hard for them to understand.
Yes.
So we have a couple programs. So we have the Care Package program, and then we also have a Veteran Gratitude Gift program. So we also like to help the veterans here who are either homeless or that are in hospice through Empath Health.
Okay.
So they get what we call Veteran Gratitude Gifts.
Okay.
And those are a little different than the Care Packages, and it's pretty new. It's only a couple months old.
Okay.
But we're trying to ramp
How'd you
that
know
up.
this idea?
Actually, that came through one of our board members. So he is a retired Marine, and he wanted us to have a bigger presence in the veteran arena, and that is...
I think the more you're present here on the home front, the more support you can get for the troops overseas.
Oh, absolutely.
So it helps each other. Tell us a little bit about why you found it necessary to serve alongside your son on the home front, and what goes through a mother's mind when she finds out her boy or her daughter is getting deployed to a combat zone.
Okay, so please don't make me cry. So bear with me.
You're gonna make me cry. I already can feel your energy from here. I can feel. I already felt my ears well up. My eyes well up a couple times now.
Yeah. It's tough. So like I said, I am a single parent. We've been by ourselves since he was 3. We moved to Florida when he was 3. I never ever imagined this for him. My grandfather was Navy, but my son did not know my grandfather. And so he never knew that it was, you should follow in his footsteps. However, he went into the Marine Corps. But he himself was approached by some of the recruiters in the Marine Corps, which I'm sure, that happens every day at high school.
Oh, yeah. And they don't go, hey, you want free education? They're like, hey, and they're all dressed and peacocked out. They're like, you want to be a man? I'm like, I want to be a man.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you like free lunch at Sonic today? I'm pretty sure that's what got Jordan. So they took him out, and they said, where do you see yourself in life? And I think that truly was a wake-up call for him, because what he told me, so when he would bring home the flyers and pamphlets and I would throw them out, he said, hey, we need to go to dinner because I need to talk to you. And he knows I won't throw a fit in public. So I said, okay, well, this has to be something big. So we sat down at dinner, and he said, here's my pros and cons as to why I want to go in. If I stay here, I'm only going to get in trouble. They will pay for me to get my education. I'll be able to travel the world. I'll be able to make something of myself. This is where I'm probably going to cry. And he was like, then I can take care of you. And I'm like, I need you to just take care of yourself.
My mom tells me that all the time still.
Yeah, if this is what you want to do, I will support you 110%. But I want you to make sure that this is truly what you want. So we went to the recruiter together. They hated me. I had 37 questions in hand. He wanted me out of there quick, fast, and in a hurry. And when we left, I could just tell in his demeanor, and he was just so persistent, and this is what he wanted. Mm-hmm. So by all means, it's his life. So I said, I will support you 110%. It killed me.
Yeah, of course it did.
It totally killed me.
Your baby boy's grown up.
Yes.
First major decision on his own.
He did, yeah.
And it was basically, Mom, I want your support, but I don't need it.
Yes, and I'm leaving you.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what?
This is the worst day ever.
It was. I think sending him off, leaving him at the hotel that night, so that this would have been the longest we had been apart. And it's tough. It truly is. It still tugs at my heartstrings now thinking about it. He doesn't need me. He's 23. But he does and he doesn't. Because there are times where he's like, yeah, Mom, I need help with this. Yeah, I will help you with whatever. So we incorporated him on the board for him to say, he's got friends in different branches. He's able to see where the need is more than I can. So he brings
You got an inside man.
I do. So he brings those needs to us, which is fabulous.
I just had a little bit of like a revelation. Maybe that's what a lot of these nonprofits are missing, are inside representatives to, even if it's a veteran nonprofit or a transitional nonprofit, imagine having someone in that can explain to you the current state of the transitional process and the people, and they have them interview people and the troops that they serve with, so that the people out here have a better understanding of what needs to be fixed in there.
Yes, because I don't know that.
No, you don't know what
and
they
I don't
mean.
understand the military world either. Like, I don't know all the acronyms.
Nobody knows. Not even we know the acronyms. We just shake our heads
it's
like, yeah.
difficult, right?
Yeah.
So he is my point of contact on that side of the fence.
Absolutely.
And I need that. However, we do observe, OPSEC, PERSEC, and all that great stuff. But having him, I cannot watch the news. I don't watch the news. I know
shouldn't watch the news anyway.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not even news.
He's in a safe place, but I don't think any place is ever safe anymore.
No.
Yeah.
Safe place.
Yeah.
That's what they tell parents.
And he always tells me, whatever.
When I was in Afghanistan, I was like, Mom, I'm in the rear. Not a big deal. And then the news comes on, 8 Harriers are blown up today on, Camp Leatherneck. I was like, nah, I wasn't near that. I was like maybe 100 yards from it, so.
So the other thing is, when he will say, whatever you see on the news is going to be old.
Yes.
It's going to be like 2-3 days old, so don't panic. When there's something you need to know, I will tell you if I can.
Yeah, 100%.
What do you mean if you can? I'm your mother. He was like, well, that's just how it goes. So.
Would you consider this your calling?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Did you have a calling before? Is this
No.
kind of like been serendipity? Intentional serendipity, exactly what Robert was talking about. It's incredible. But you also stepped up. You didn't have to do all this. There's plenty of people, like you said, there's Sams out there that don't have any support because the people don't believe in what they're doing. How selfish of a family
super
to do
selfish.
that. Unreal.
I would never, as much as I didn't want him to go in, I would never not support him. That is his life. That is his decision to make. And it does break my heart.
It's not like, hey, Mom, I'm going to sell drugs.
I know, right?
Yes. Thank you. At least you're not going in the military.
Right?
Like, it doesn't happen like that. You
No,
know?
it doesn't.
So, what's the response been from the troops you support? I know there was a couple people sent letters back. They have video testimonials.
Yes.
So let's talk about the response that you're getting.
It's amazing. It truly is. I love getting the emails, so I'm lucky. I get them first, and I cry. I'm super emotional, and then I share them with the board first. We obviously take out some things for OPSEC and PERSEC reasons, and then we post them because our donors, our supporters, our sponsors want to see that.
Yeah, that's where the money's going to.
Yes, and so sometimes it's hard because we don't get the response, but like I tell people, they are not pen pals. They're in places where they are fighting for our freedom, or they don't have a lot of time. So please don't be offended if we don't get anything back. That's, again, not why I do it. There's a need. I'm sending them the items. I don't expect a thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about the nonprofit space for the veteran community and the military community in general. It's hit or miss.
It is.
I've been hearing from other veterans that are heavy in entrepreneurship and building businesses and nonprofits that people are being turned off because of all the fraudulence that's out there.
Oh, absolutely.
So how do you battle that? How do you overcome those nonprofits that are putting a bad taste in people's mouths and stand and be a nonprofit that veterans, military, and just general nonprofits can emulate? How are you making sure you're doing it right? You're being completely open. You're disclosing everything. There's a whole system to nonprofits. A lot of people think, nonprofits, they don't make any money. That's not true. And they don't understand how much goes into it, the bureaucracy behind it, the paperwork, the red tape, the you need a board, you need to have meetings. I started a nonprofit, and then I learned about them, and then I stopped doing the nonprofit after I learned about it. So I'm really impressed with how you're able to do it, and you've been so successful at it, and you just keep growing. You have a good team. I found building a team was really hard for me as well.
Yes.
So explain the whole nonprofit aspect and how you're able to be a cut above the rest.
Okay. So I actually do work a full-time job that pays my bills, and I run a non-for-profit on the side. So it takes up the majority of my time, but I love it. I wouldn't change it for anything. It's a struggle from time to time because, yes, in the beginning, it's a lot of, if you don't know what you're doing or who to talk to, you're in trouble. So we were lucky where we were able to get a law firm to help us with our 501c3 paperwork pro bono, which is why I think it happened so quickly. And then what we try to do is we try to better ourselves by getting more knowledge about the 501c3 nonprofit arena, taking some classes, asking other organizations who have been successful, hey, what are your lessons learned? What could you tell me that I might not know? Because we still are in our infancy. We're only 3 years old. We try to be very, very transparent. We are getting ready to put our financials out on the website so that everybody can see them, because every penny that comes in, none of us take a salary, and I want people to see that. So there are times where, we have to buy certain things. We don't have an office, so we forgo having an office or a warehouse.
So unnecessary expense.
So that we can spend most of the money where it needs to be spent. But there are things like when we print out the labels, obviously we need like some ink. So you're going to see like a couple of office expenses on there, but for the most part, every penny that comes in is going
Well, it's still going. It's still being used to do what you're doing.
It is.
So how are you making money?
So we do some fundraisers. We have great sponsors. Right now, like, we're in the midst of our holiday donation drive. And so the way we're able to get people to interact with us is we call them Stano Nation. So we will reach out to Stano Nation and say, like, hey, we have a need. We have 6 units. Can somebody help us? Sometimes we have, so I'm going to give a very big shout out to Stanford's Jerky. Every time we need beef jerky for the troops, they step up. What do you need?
Beef jerky is Bay.
Right.
Over there.
And this is homemade.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. So
yes.
Frank has been absolutely wonderful. We're actually working with Black and Brew out of Lakeland, and I believe he is retired military.
Okay.
And they're giving us all of the coffee for our 750 packages. So, like, that almost made me in tears. It's hard to get people to interact because they do have that bad taste. Like, where's your money going? Why do you continually ask
go to my
for
website,
money?
You can see.
Right.
Exactly.
So they don't want to. They don't want to do that. And the other thing I found is when we're out asking for the money, they have that, what's in it for me?
Always.
And I get it. So there's obviously going to be some publicity, but we can't offer anything but, hey, we can give you publicity on the website.
Oh, yeah, that's all they want.
We can give you publicity
they want that equity.
in the care packages.
Yes.
So we have found fantastic people like Tech Data, who every June, they let us come in there. They sponsor the shipping of the 300 packages. We ask some of their employees, do you have loved ones who are deployed? We had one person, her husband was deployed, 117 of them.
That's so awesome.
So it's fabulous.
So each person gets their own.
Each person.
Wow, that's in another level. So let's talk about how hard it is to actually get donations in the beginning, because I know once you get you get that credibility. People how did you get those first donations? I mean, you have a very
family and friends.
Yeah, you have a very strong brand, and what you're doing, it touches a lot of people's hearts. So, how are you able to kind of get out of your own way and just like, hey, give me money? Because that's really what comes out. Give me money, please. Give me money. That was the hard part for me.
I do a lot of crying. It's my team. It truly is the team that I have behind me. I don't do this alone. I don't take any of the credit. You can ask anyone on my team. We are very team motivated. We are the one team, one dream kind of a deal.
I like it.
It took us a lot to get out of our own way, where it was constantly family and friends. But what we did was we sat down, we brainstormed. It was, what can we do? What can we offer somebody? So we have sponsorship packets now. We've actually started, so the other thing is we all work full-time jobs, so it's hard for us to go out and talk to people. But we started doing more community outreach events. And so the more and more we started to get out in the community, people start knowing the name.
Show up.
Yes. And it is all in who you know, right? So say I know you and you know someone else and you're like, hey, Paula, I have this great fit for you. That's helped us tremendously. Or they'll see, so right now we have Audi of Wesley Chapel, the Dimmitt Automotive Group. In each of their locations, they have our donation boxes. So we're hoping maybe Honda or another dealership is like, hey, I want to do what they did.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about these corporate packing parties that you do to kind of help sponsor the postage and the shipping and everything that you do for these care packages. How does that work? And how is that good for the corporations in terms of team building, in terms of exposure, and then also what it does for those corporate people?
So I like to think we have started this whole mobile pack party movement, and what we'll do is we will approach a corporation, and sometimes the corporations approach us.
Okay.
So we have 2 that are waiting to kind of sign on right now, where they'll say, hey, we want to do something different. It is different. It's a way for them to give back. And some of these people have volunteer hours that they can't use because they can't get out of work. So we're like, well, we'll just bring it to you. However, it has to be cost effective for them and time effective for us, because we are giving up some of our time where we're at work to then bring this party to them. So I'll give you a couple of instances. So Altria said, hey, we're having this team build event and we want you to come and we will sponsor all the shipping for 200 packages.
Wow.
Plus, we will buy half of the items. So each care package gets 46 to 46 items in it. So you can imagine how much money
46 to 46 or just 46
to 48.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
46 to 46, I'm like,
You like that?
I like that, yeah.
Fuzzy math.
Yeah.
So we do 46 to 48 items, and they sponsored half of them. And then what we do is we went there to pick them up. We have a logistics team. They will go ahead and inventory it. They put everything in bins. Then we pack up the trailer the day of. We get there usually an hour ahead of time. We'll set everything up. My team does not pack them. We stand at the very end.
Why would you?
I know.
Why would you pack them?
Well, we used to in the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I was very anal retentive. You can ask my team. The very first pack party we did, I repacked some of them. I thought they were going to kill me.
You took your son's pamphlets, ripped them up, and threw them in the trash. So I can only imagine.
So I have had to let go of my OCD a little bit. So I don't. I want them to have that experience.
That's really big. To be a good CEO, to be a good business executive, is you cannot be micromanaging. You have to let go. You have to trust your team.
So my team is phenomenal.
Yes.
And there are times, they still tell me like, hey, don't do that because you're micromanaging us. And
hey, at least
it's just hard for me. Yeah. The communication is key.
Yes.
Very key. So yeah, when we get there, we let them pack. We're normally at the end. So we have 2 people who are walking around making sure that everything is going okay, that whatever items are on the table are replenished so they can just walk around the table, fill the box. When the box gets to the end, I am at the end. I like to touch almost every box. I do.
Oh, yeah.
So we tape them up. We put the customs form on top. Something new that we've started doing in the past year and a half is we send the care packages out in honor or remembrance of somebody. So if there's a donor who's had someone killed in action, or they were a Marine, any kind of a military member. I'm sorry, I tend to say Marines because my son
we're
is
the
there.
best. It's good. Just kidding.
We do. We'll put... No, you're not. We put a little label on top that says, in memory, you're receiving this care package in honor of, and then their picture. Inside, we also put a thank you note from us, the Stano team. And then what we're doing now is, let's say Tech Data sponsored the shipping or some of the items. Their logo goes in there as well, and they're able to put a pre-made card.
So that's their ROI in a way. Okay.
Yes. Plus, we take pictures with the CIO. We take pictures there. We go live on social media.
Yeah,
they
smart.
then become a community partner, so they are on our social media. They're on the web page. They can click on Tech Data, and it goes right to their website. So yeah, that is their ROI. They get to give back. They get to feel good. They get to see what's in the boxes, and then they do get the social media presence.
Perfect. You've added a new program for vets.
We have.
Now let's talk about that.
Okay.
And that was the one you were talking about before, right?
Yes.
So let's go a little bit more detail into that.
Okay.
And how people could become more a part of that.
Same thing.
Okay.
So we've tried to keep them pretty similar. It's veteran gratitude gifts, and there's about 20 to 25 items in each of these bags. So we didn't want to do care packages.
Yeah.
We wanted these to be more personal.
Okay.
And so what they are is we work with the volunteer program coordinator at Liberty Manor and at Empath Hospice. And we will say, what is it that they need? So it'll be things like a lap blanket, anti-skid socks, snacks, sometimes Bibles. It truly all just depends on what they tell us to get. So we will go ahead, purchase those, and we do those quarterly.
Okay.
And so also with Liberty Manor, sometimes they need things like, and you can find this on their website, cleaning supplies. How hard is it to go to the dollar store and buy some bleach or
I don't ask questions I don't really want the answers to, because people are just special sometimes. But it's okay.
Yeah.
It's
so
all right.
They're
doing their best. They're doing their best.
Whatever works, right? Whatever works. I'm here to make sure it works.
So what are some of the events you have coming up for the holiday season?
So right now, like I said, we have the holiday donation drive. It overtakes everything.
So talk a little bit about that. How do we learn more about it? I'll add the link to this interview. Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
So they can go to www.stano.org, or you can look us up on Facebook, which is the Stano Foundation. And the holiday donation drive is this. We have units that will reach out to us and say, we need help. And it's not just during the holiday time, but I'll get back to that. So we have about 750 care packages that we need to fill
Where you
with
at right
the
now?
46 to 48 items.
48 to 48 items.
46 to 48, and then the shipping. So the shipping is our biggest expense. It's $17.40 to ship one of these boxes. It is the USPS flat rate large box. So that's normally...
Have you considered trying to pull the United States Postal Service as a sponsor?
We have asked them. We have yet to get... Yeah, I think we're
We
so
don't got time for
little.
this.
We're very little, and I get that, and I appreciate that they at least take the time to say,
Well, if
you're not
any
there
organization needs a little little brand equity, it's
It
the
is, and
UPS,
so-
USPS.
The people will say to us, like, how are they not being sent for free?
That's my question.
I wish I had an answer. I truly do. We have
Ballers on budgets.
looked at different avenues. We've tried to get someone to help us on McDale, but then it becomes a security issue of what's in the package, what's going on the plane.
Bureaucracy, red tape, red tape, red tape. Yeah, so...
I try not to rock the boat.
Yeah.
I take what they say with a grain of salt, and I just, okay, thank you so much, and I just keep going. And until we can find a way to get them shipped for free, then we're out there pounding the pavement, asking people, can you help us?
Perfect.
This is what we're doing. So yeah, we have a couple of pack parties coming up, so we try to break them up because we don't want it to be too overwhelming. So we have a pack party of 150, a pack party of 100, and then a pack party of 500.
Are you still looking for sponsors for these?
We are.
You are? Okay,
Yes.
cool. Very, very well. I'll definitely see what I can do
Okay.
throughout the next couple weeks.
Perfect.
And anybody that sees this interview, if you want to help sponsor this, if you have a company that you think that would benefit from a packing party, from some team building, supporting our troops, contact me, contact Paula, and we'll get you connected. So what's some of the wisdom you've gained from this journey?
Oh my goodness. Where do I even begin? I truly thought when I first started it would be me and my friends. You sometimes just can't do that. It just doesn't work. As much as I love my friends, you really have to find the right team to make this work.
And they'll become your friends.
They do.
It's
and
not
so we
always
tried
the best move building
It
a
is
company with
not.
friends.
It
Hasn't worked yet for me.
Well,
so.
my best friend is my vice president,
yeah, that's
and
one.
she's been there since day one. But we have had a hard time because I think so many people want to help, but then when they get in the thick of it, it's like, oh my God, this is way too much work. It is. It's a lot of work.
And especially if you don't have your branding, your messaging down, if you can't convey to your team exactly the vision in your head and give them tangible goals to achieve that vision, you're going to get frustrated. They're going to get
Yes.
frustrated. I learned this the hard way, and then it just kind of falls
And
apart.
then you get burnt out, right? So that's the other thing. There's
Real
only
quick.
4 of us here locally that are constantly out in the community. And so we're looking to grow. We have an actual strategy meeting coming up. We kind of had to put that
you got
on the back burner because of the holiday donation drive and some other items. But we want to grow. We want to get brand ambassadors so that when we get out in the community and we do community outreach, we don't have to stand at the tent. We can walk around. We can talk to people. And then I've learned to have a lot more patience. I never had patience. And this is a waiting game. And I've also learned that for as many people that say no, there's going to be that one person that says yes.
Oh yeah,
So
it's
just keep
sales
asking.
statistics.
It is, but I'm not good with
I'm not good
sales.
with rejection either.
I was
but
not.
I had to change my mindset about it.
And I did.
Yes.
So my vice president tells me all the time, what is the worst they're going to say to you? No. So
and it doesn't
just
mean
ask
no,
them.
just not now.
Yes. And so I've gotten a lot better.
Of course. You have to.
You don't have a choice.
My nonprofit didn't succeed because I couldn't take no. I couldn't even ask. So I was maybe I'm not meant for that. Maybe I'm not meant for this nonprofit
Yeah,
space.
maybe not.
I'm gonna go talk about everybody else's business and create a business from there.
Okay.
Yeah. Being real with yourself. That was the hardest decision I made at the beginning of this year. One of the hardest decisions I ever made in my entire life was to stop, look myself in the mirror, and go, Adam, you're not ready to be a CEO yet. Which
It's tough.
hard for me to swallow that pill. I got out of the Marine Corps to do this.
Okay.
And then I had to look at myself in the mirror and say, you're not ready to run your own organization. You're not ready to build a team. You're not ready. But that's okay. You will be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I got really motivated, was like, I don't have to be ready, and that's okay right now.
It is, absolutely.
And in this whole last year since I made that decision, I'm so much more ready to run a business now, and I have so many things coming down the line because I took a step back and decided to become a student.
And sometimes you have to.
You have to.
You have to. And you constantly have to work on yourself.
Yes.
I'm not
Self-development
the best leader.
is the foundation.
It is. I'm not the best leader. I tell my team all the time.
You do cry a lot, so.
I know. I will tell them, if there's something that I could be doing better, let me know. If I could communicate differently, then let me know. But because we all...
Do they do this every once in a while?
I'm sure they give me the evil eye behind my back. No, they don't.
Yes. So, in your opinion, what's the current state of affairs for veteran and military-focused nonprofits?
It's tough out there. It truly is. I think there's so many of us trying to do the same things.
Vying for the same crumbs. There's no community.
So the other thing is we are very big at, we don't want the notoriety.
Okay.
There are times we come across other organizations and we'll say like, hey, we have these leftover items, or I know you guys are looking for X, Y, and Z. We have that. Let us help you. Or, hey, we know you have this. Can you help us? And it's most of the time it's, well, no, because it's a conflict of interest. It's really not. You know what I want? I want to make sure the troops are taken care of. I want to make sure that our veterans in hospice
we
have
are
what
the
they
only
need.
ones that can support our troops. You're not. That right there is the reason nonprofits fail.
It is.
That mindset.
We are not like that.
No.
Not
you
at
can't
all.
be. You cannot be a successful nonprofit without building strategic relationships with other nonprofits. I'm sorry. Every nonprofit that started, you want to be the biggest nonprofit in the country. You want to be the Wounded Warrior Foundation. You want to be them. You want to thwart them. You want to be able to eclipse them. But the reason they're so strong is because of all the strategic relationships they've built across the entire country. You cannot vie for crumbs at the bottom and expect yourself to be able to eat like a king. So what are we doing to thwart these nonprofits from taking advantage of the veteran space or giving nonprofits in the veteran space, in the military space, a bad name? Other than, living by your code and standing above the rest.
I truly can't speak to that because I live in my own little world. I live in the Stano world.
Yeah.
I really don't worry about what anybody else is doing. I truly focus on the troops and what we can do to give back and make sure that when we get an email or a Facebook message that says, please help us, or hey, we were just recently deployed and we don't have a PX, or we don't have a lot of money. Most of these people are young kids. They're not going to spend their money responsibly. Let's just be realistic.
No, I didn't.
I still don't.
I would spend money on deployment just to spend it because it was again work your 14-hour day, work out for 2 hours, eat an hour because you eat within the Marine Corps you eat in like 5 minutes, so
yeah,
maybe an hour.
Gonna say.
So you still got time before you have to go to sleep, and you don't want to sleep as much. So what do? And go buy stuff you don't need and you can't even take home.
Yes. So I really don't worry about anybody else. We truly just try and find the need and fill the need.
So how has this purpose-driven life you created for yourself helped you grow and find yourself not only in a better place in your life, but a better place with yourself and in a better place of building relationships, unlike you were able to in the past?
Yeah. So I had a fear of public speaking. You see, I'm here. Yeah. I don't like to be in front of the camera. I don't like limelight. I have had to deal with. I am the face of
you
Stano,
have to be.
So I have to.
Mm-hmm. Especially because it's your name.
I know.
I mean, if it was your friend's name, your best friend's name, I'm like, yeah, I don't have to do it.
And so she tells me all the time, she's like, you have to learn to do this. So it has caused me to reflect and look inside, like, what can I do so that I'm not so crazed or make myself so anxious-ridden that I can't do these things. It's because, so you know what, I think of my son, so, and I think, what would he do? So in the Marine Corps, improvise, adapt, overcome. That's what you do. And that's what I've had to do. I've had to find ways to make these things work. I've had to find ways to have life-work balance, right? Stano takes over all of my time on top of, like I said, I work a full-time job. So there has to be that fine line of, okay, I'm shutting off for Stano as of right now. You can't let it.
I tried
as
going.
Much as I love having the passion, and I get excited and I want to tell them things.
Burnout's real. I'm sorry, being emotionally overwhelmed, emotionally burnt out, physically, mentally, it's taxing.
It is.
Because you think all day. All you're doing is thinking, like, what do I do? That's why I started doing the meditation. Yes, that's why I meditate. And I meditate and brain dump before bed because my brain won't turn off at night.
That's probably what I need to do.
You should try it. I'm telling you, you should try it. It took me a couple years to get good at meditation, but the whole idea behind it is not to judge yourself. Is to let the thoughts come in and then let them go.
See, and I'm not there yet. So just like you weren't there with some things, I'm not there yet. I'm very critical of myself.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I should have said this, or you
know how I got over that? Is I started realizing that as much as I'm critical of myself, because I used to go home and think, oh, I said that weird thing today to this person. They must think I'm so stupid. They must be thinking about me right now. We're so self-centered naturally because we're human beings, and honestly, like, reality is that it's our own reality, that they're probably at home doing the same thing you're doing, thinking about the stupid things they said today. So there's no point even thinking about it.
Okay.
So you know what I'm saying? I know it's easier said than done, but like if you use that from perspective is people are just as self-conscious about the things they said as you were that day, and they're thinking about all the stupid stuff they said while you're thinking about all the stupid stuff you said. So you probably got to pass.
Okay. Well, not that you know the 46 to 46 items. I'm going to be thinking about that later. Freaking Adam.
Damn it. So talking about mindset, how important has it been overhauling your mindset throughout this entire journey?
Oh, my God.
Without it, I don't think you could be an entrepreneur. I don't think you could be a business owner.
You cannot. So I work in the project management field, so for me it's lessons learned. They are very valuable. You have to write them down. I'm not going to remember in 5 years something that happened 2 years ago, 1 year. I don't even remember sometimes what happened yesterday. So it's very important for me so that when something works well, we keep going with it. When something doesn't work well, what can we take from it? How do we get better? So my mindset is constantly thinking, and I'm always afraid of failure, right? So, well, what if we do this? So if we do a fundraiser and I'm like, oh, I don't know. It sounds like a great idea for me, but then not everybody else is going to think that. I can't think that way anymore.
Nope. It's selfish, actually.
It is. I try to think what's going to be the best for the troops. How can I get the best bang for my buck so that I can help other people?
What I love about purpose-driven businesses like yours and something that you're very passionate about is it puts you face-to-face with your own internal dichotomy, and it forces you to overcome your own insecurities to better serve the purpose. Because if you don't get out of your own way, troops aren't being taken care of.
Right.
And so in a way, you've provided yourself a platform and an incentive to grow and overcome yourself and master yourself so that you can better serve the mission. And that's exactly what they teach you in the military and the Marine Corps. Is you have to get out of your own way in order to serve your country the right way. You're scared, doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
Suck it up. Mm-hmm. And, you know, fear is a driving force, but it's also what holds us back. And fear can be leveraged to help you go and above and beyond. But what I call it in the Marine Corps, what they taught you is, I call it the fuck it mentality, where it's, oh God, I don't want to do this. Can I do this? I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this. And eventually the time comes, I feel butterflies in my stomach just thinking about it. And then eventually you have to jump off an 80-foot A-frame onto a rope and climb down, you know? And that's the first time I said fuck it to myself like that. And I said, you know what? Adam, you're here. You ain't coming back down that A-frame. Fuck it. And that was what was able to get me through so many daunting times. And it's not, I don't necessarily say that anymore because that, I don't need to be convinced that I don't care about myself or something to do something now.
Okay.
But if you're in a situation where it's really daunting, at some point, you know there's a mission. You know that there's something you're trying to do, and you know you're the only thing that's stopping you from doing that is you. Eventually, you're just going to say, fuck it, and just go for it.
And I do.
And you do all the time now.
I do all the time, and I do get out of my own way, but there are times where I still have that internal struggle.
Human being.
You're
absolutely. Exhausted. Have you thought about when the last time you ate? That's what I've been realizing lately, because you just forget to eat sometimes when you're so busy, you're so thinking. I'm like, the world's ending, my life's over, nobody likes me. And Adam, did you eat anything lately? You need a Snickers, you know what I mean?
Right. The other thing I find is because I can't sleep, so I have a pen and paper next to the bed, and I will get up and I'll write down ideas. And
that's why I do the forced brain dumps now. You should try that, I'm telling you.
I probably need to do that.
I'll start reminding you. I'll start sending you text messages every night until you, Adam, okay, I get it.
I'm like, all right,
I did it. Yeah, exactly. So if you have any advice, you have any wisdom to anybody out there that wants to be a part of the military community, anybody out there that wants to help the veterans, wants to help military members overseas, wants to start their own nonprofit, just give some wisdom that you've gained over these last 3 years and help those people out there that are on the fence, but they're not ready to say fuck it and leap yet.
So that it's funny you say that because
it's a leap.
It is a leap, and it took. I didn't want to do it myself, but I was like, I can't. In all honesty, I couldn't see them doing those packages that way, and it just blew my mind.
You can't unsee something that you've already seen, and you can't unlearn something you just learned.
It really hurt my heart, being like, someone's going to open that box. It could be a guy getting feminine products and books, and he doesn't want those things. So why wouldn't they take the time to just ask them? I would love to help someone start their own non-for-profit. I share my paperwork. I answer questions. In the beginning, we asked people. They didn't want to help us at all. I'm not here to take away from like what you're doing. I'm just here to enhance it. So if there's a way we can work together, then let's make it work. But like I said, in the nonprofit world, it's a struggle. So if there is someone out there who's thinking, hey, maybe I kind of want to start my own non-for-profit, I'm more than willing to talk to them. I can tell them what it's like, how much it costs, all the paperwork it involves. You have to have patience.
It's a lot.
Doing the paperwork. You know this. The non-for-profit world, it does not come with an operating manual. And there are days I beat myself up over that, but I'm like, it's like having children. There is no...
Sounds like Paula needs to start an operating manual for nonprofits.
There's no manual when it comes to your kids, right? So you wing it, and you just hope for the best.
Yeah, educated guesses.
But everybody makes mistakes. We're human, but you learn from the mistakes and you keep going.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So I don't want someone to not start something because they're afraid, because that was me.
Yes. And look where you're at now.
Yes.
And I can only imagine what the next 6 months is going to be, the next year. That's how I was able to keep going when I just thought there was nothing left in me. I'm just going to get a job. This is, and I was like, man, look how much I've done in a year.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy to look back.
What's the next year going to be? So this is what I say. This is one of my sayings is you live mindfully in the present, right?
Okay.
And the way you do that is by connecting the dots from your past to see how far you've come, and also look towards the future to see where you're going. If you can find the balance between looking towards the future and proving that you're capable from looking in the past, living in the moment and executing it today is that much easier.
Oh, I couldn't agree more.
Absolutely.
I truly couldn't. But the future is scary sometimes for
100%.
people.
And that's why you got to take a step back sometimes and say, okay, because I get overwhelmed a lot, and then I get what I call it a paralysis by analysis.
Okay.
Oh, I got to do all this, I got to do that, I got to do this, and I don't do anything because I'm just overwhelmed. So I just, what can I get done today?
That's what we do.
That'll get me to tomorrow.
Yes, we take things day by day.
It has to be.
We have visions of grandeur, don't get me wrong.
You got to have that.
But we have steps to get there. You
Yes.
can't just go from A to Z.
No.
It doesn't work that way. I wish it did.
I wish it did. I
do
tried
too.
for a year. It didn't work. Exactly. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for
oh my
having
gosh,
me.
I love this woman. And what she's doing is incredible. I'd like to thank you all again for this edition of Vetting America. Again, I'm Adam T. Cummings, your host, Paula Stano of the Stano Foundation. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Richard McIntyre of McIntyreFirm.com, Chris Mistos of Podfest.us, and of course our amazing executive producer, Anthony Kovic of the Tampa Post. It's been another lovely edition. This will be the last episode of Season 1. I'd like to thank you all for being a part of it this whole entire season. I'm looking to bring on sponsors, to build a team. I'm looking for, if any veteran that wants to be a part of this with me, video editors, business managers. I really want to take this national. I really want to grow this brand and continue helping to educate the world and the country on what it is that these incredible entrepreneurs like Paula are doing for our veterans, for our military service members, and for the country. So if anybody out there would like to be a part of this with me, please hit me up on Facebook, email, doesn't matter. Again, you can find Paula Stano and the Stano Foundation at
www.stano.org or on Facebook under the Stano Foundation.
It's been an incredible season, an incredible journey so far. I'm glad I had her on as my last episode.
I'm very
Thanks again
honored.
To Anthony Kovic for changing my life and giving me an opportunity to really do what it is I love and find a passion and a calling that I never thought I'd be a part of. So my last piece of sage advice to any veteran out there, since I've asked every single one, is show up. If there's something you want to do, if you feel unfulfilled, go out there and find your fulfillment. Doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter what you want to do it. Don't be scared. And there's plenty of people out there, like myself, like Paula, that will help do whatever it is that you want to do. Thank you all for a great season. Thank you for being a part of my life. I love you, and I'll see you in January. Thank you.